And you alluded to the lifestyle measures, which I'm quite interested in what you would define those, how you would kind of have that framework of what is a healthy lifestyle, what is wellness, where does it fit in, what's realistic as well.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to keep it realistic, right? I'm big on that because I think when anything comes up with the wellness attached to it, it can start to get a little bit woo woo and a little bit kind of, there's all this stuff on social media about getting up at 5 and doing all these things, before you start your day. I think there is a lot of, yeah, women are pulled in a lot of different directions at this time of life, and they are extremely time poor. We are I know from talking to my clients that they are extremely they're overwhelmed by the amount of kind of information that they are bombarded with when they open up Instagram or TikTok or anything really. And even headlines in the news often are conflicting, aren't they? They are often very confusing. That on a different day you will have being told different things. So I think keep it simple is my number one rule. But try and pull the big levers. So the big levers are things like, and your listeners will have heard this 1,000 times. They will probably be eye rolling when I
It
say
is
this.
good to hear it more. We can never hear it enough.
The thing is, you hear it, but you're not. I think people aren't necessarily doing it.
I know.
So it is things like eating a Mediterranean diet, anti-inflammatory, lots of colour, lots of polyphenols, these antioxidants. It is increasing the amount of protein in your diet, really, really important. Lots of us, we're not deficient in protein by any stretch, but we're not optimal. And I think by kind of increasing even just a little bit, it can have huge impacts on if you are trying to lose a little bit of body fat, for example. It can have big impacts on your mood, on your energy levels. So protein is a hill that I will, I'm a drum that I'm banging constantly, and I'm happy to go into this in more detail. But I think as well, fiber. The government guidelines are 30 grams a day. We are currently in the UK eating about between 16 and 18 grams, which is actually the recommendations for a 5-year-old. So we're woefully under eating fiber. It helps to fill us up. When you fill up on fiber, your stomach fills up. These stretch receptors are kind of they are signaled, and they then talk to your brain to tell your appetite to turn off. It's exactly the same mechanism as Wegovy and Ozempic and these weight loss injections, but obviously on a much less efficient scale. But still, it's available to everyone. It's not really expensive. It doesn't have, crazy side effects. So eating more fiber is so important. We need to be thinking about calcium. So bone health is a huge issue for women, particularly post-menopausally. So we need to make sure that we are eating protein, we are getting enough vitamin D, we are consuming enough calcium. So all of these things are really important for bones. Omega-3s are really, really important. They are anti-inflammatory, and we know that when we start to lose our estrogen actually has this kind of nice buffering effect. And actually, when we start to lose it, our bodies can become slightly more pro-inflammatory. So omega-3s from oily fish are really important, but I recognize that not everybody likes oily fish. So, you can supplement. There's a really good vegan supplement, which is called algae oil. So that's an alternative if you're not having your 2 portions of oily fish a week, which I know lots of us aren't. And then my other one that I think is worth talking about is trying to include more phytoestrogens in your diet. So these are these kind of these plant chemicals that we find, particularly in things like soya foods and also things like chickpeas and linseeds, or flax seeds, they're sometimes called. So they have a kind of low level estrogenic effect, but they're it's very weak. It's not going to affect your systemic levels of estrogen, but it can do for some women, not all of them, but it can help with things like hot flushes and night sweats. So they're definitely worth incorporating into your diet, even if they don't work. they're good because they are, they're a good source of protein, and they are also good sources of fiber. So those are the kind of nutrition levers, I would say. And then in terms of lifestyle, again, it's the boring basics: prioritizing sleep, trying to manage your stress, community support, which we've already touched on. And what would be the other ones? Moving your body in a way that feels good. But if that can possibly incorporate a bit of resistance training, then all the better, because we really start to lose muscle mass around this time. So we really want to kind of beef up, try and mitigate that muscle loss, because muscle is important for so many things.